Alright, hello Dr. Fry. I'm here for game review number 3. We do a game review of the Elder Scrolls Skyrim. So it's the Elder Scrolls, their 5th game. So Elder Scrolls is the 5th game in a series of games, and it came out in 2011 originally. It's an action role-playing genre, and it's rated M for mature because of violence, blood, and gore. There's not really any bad language, and there's not really any nudity. So it came out for the PC, the PlayStation 3, and the Xbox 360 initially in 2011, and it was re-released in October of 2016. So like a 5-year gap there, and they re-released it for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. They re-released it for the PC as well. And so with that, they came out with their special edition, and so that came with all the DLCs kind of linked into one. So there was 3 main DLCs. One of them is a story mode about you fighting another guy that's kind of like you. Another one is fighting vampires, and then another one is being able to get married and to build houses and to buy homes and things. I've spent lots and lots and lots of time on this game. I just recently purchased it for the PC, and I played it for my first time on the PC, but I played it originally on the Xbox 360, and then I got it for the PlayStation 4 shortly after its re-release, and now I have it on my computer. So I've probably spent like 300 to 400 hours on this game, and I'll give it a 10 out of 10 rating. It's probably my favorite game of all time, and so that's why I wanted to review it for you. It's a single player game, so you can't play it with friends. It's not really interactive. There's an Elder Scrolls Online, but that's a completely different thing, and I'm not going to go into that. The setting is the land of Skyrim, which takes place in the land of Tamriel, and your character are the Dragonborn, which means you have a dragon soul within you. You have dragon blood in your veins, and so you're part dragon, and there's a dragon menace basically coming back from olden times, and it's threatening the Skyrim world, and so your objective is to defeat the dragons, and there's a big powerful dragon named Alduin, but I'll go into that later. So like I said, its original release was November 11th, 2011 for the old consoles, 360, PS3, and the PC. It was re-released October 28th, 2016, and it was also re-released on November 17th of 2017 for the Nintendo Switch, which I thought was kind of neat. So in its first week that it was released, it made $450 million. And its first month, it made $620 million. So it did very, very well. I mean, at first it was kind of an occult following. You've probably heard of the Oblivion game, Elder Scrolls Oblivion. That was real popular for the Xbox, and so when Skyrim came out, there's a lot of people waiting for it. So, and there was probably like a 12 or 14 year gap before they came out with the 2 games. And today, since 2011, they've sold 30 million copies of the game, and that's a ton. So, for the lead-in, the game starts, and you kind of wake up, and you're on the back of this wagon, and you're tied up, and you're with a bunch of other prisoners. They lead you in to this little town, and you're basically caught at a border or something. It doesn't tell you what you did, but you're with like a thief, and you're with a guy who's a Stormcloak. So anyways, they take you, and they're basically gonna kill all of you guys and chop your heads off. And they lead you into this town. They ask who you are, and when they ask who you are, you're able to choose your race and then to build your character. Each race has its own abilities, or they have their own their benefits that allow you to do certain things with magic and things like that. Like my character is good at combat, and so anyways, after you choose what race you are, you get to kind of choose your facial features and how you look, and I think that's really cool, being able to kind of create your own avatar. I like that a lot at the very beginning of the game. And then after that, they send you to the block and you're about to be killed, and this big black dragon comes and wreaks terror on this little town that you're in, and just starts killing everybody and destroying the town, and you're able to kind of get away. And you get away with, one or two characters, and you get to choose which one you go with. And it's at that point that you kind of learn controls, how to jump, how to move, and they kind of have the little tutorial while you're running away from the dragon, which is kind of cool. So you learn how to jump and how to move and how to pick things up, and you can loot almost anything in the game. You can pick up almost anything. You can pick up candlesticks and beer mugs, chalices, and anything you can pick up and sell it, or do whatever you want with it. But at this point, you kind of go into these dungeons, and you're able to get some armor and to get some weapons. They're not very good weapons. You start at level 1, but it's something that you're able to fight with. You go and you fight a few mages or people that use magic and some skeletons, and then you either get to sneak past this bear or you fight it, and then it leads you out into Skyrim, into the world, after you get out of this this cave. And it's at that point that you can do literally whatever you want, which I love about the game. And so going into the gameplay, the game plays amazing. I love the game mechanics. I love everything about it. There's only a few cons that I really don't like about the game, and I'll get into those later. But it's in first or third person, and you can switch to either or anytime. It doesn't matter. I typically play the first person. I like that better, especially if I'm, using a bow and arrows. I like the first person better. But the progression in the gameplay of Skyrim is huge. It plays a huge role in the game, whether that's your level ups, your skills, your shouts, or the voice that you have as a dragonborn, which lets you speak the dragon's language, and those words have different powers associated with them. And with each level up, you get to choose to level up either your health, your stamina, or your magic, and then you get to work on your skills. You get a perk that you get to spend on one of several skills, whether that be lock picking or pickpocketing, or one-handed sword fighting, or crafting weapons, smithing, all that stuff. And then you can go into magic or alchemy and level those things up too. So it's pretty extensive when it comes to the gameplay. There's lots of things you can choose to do with your character. You can go one way. You typically want to choose one combat style, and so my combat style is I typically have a one-handed weapon with a magic spell in my other hand. And I find that to be the most effective because I can change that spell whenever I want to be like a healing spell or a destruction spell that I can use against enemies. So what skills you specialize in, you kind of want to stick with, otherwise your character is gonna be kind of mediocre, and you're gonna die a lot, and at least in my experience, because I've done several characters throughout the years, and there's been a couple characters where I've just kind of tried to level up equal amounts of skills instead of focusing on a couple. And when you focus on a couple, you're gonna be more powerful. So, like I said earlier, you get to create your own character. It doesn't matter what race or what character you are in the end, because it's only like a 5% difference, and you can make that up with, armor or weapons that have spells on them that, make more damage, things like that. So it really doesn't matter what race or character you choose. There's difficulty modes, and they're all pretty balanced. There's 4 difficulty modes. So there's novice, there's normal, there's hard, and then there's legendary. And so I've played on novice through hard. I've never even attempted legendary. But the hard one is super hard. You die pretty quickly, and you have to be very strategic about how you fight. And I like the normal mode because I can kind of just, walk into like a castle full of bandits and just slay them. That's my favorite. I love that. So, the difficulty is pretty balanced. Weapons, there is basically infinite amount of what you can do with weapons in the game. There's not infinite different weapons. There's your typical weapons. You have like iron or steel, and you can get orcish or elven. There's Daedric weapons. As you get further in the game, the weapons get better and better. They level up with you, kind of. And you can put spells on them with the alchemy lab that make your weapons more powerful. Like when you hit somebody, it could do frost damage or fire damage, or you can absorb 10 points of their health. Lots of things that can make your weapons even more powerful and deadly. And so I really like the dynamic of that, because typically in games like Call of Duty or things, you get like the standard weapons, and you can put like different attachments on them, and then that's it. But like there's an infinite amount of things that you can do with the weapons that you find in Skyrim. So it never really gets boring when it comes to that. Quests, there are 244 available quests in the Elder Scrolls Skyrim Special Edition. And there's over 500 or 800 points, 500 to 800 points of interests or locations, like caves or cities, towns, places that you can go loot, ransack, or go and find more quests at. So there's quests like the Thieves Guild. I'll just briefly explain a couple of them so you understand. The Thieves Guild, they're focused on taking away from big, powerful, rich people, kind of like a Robin Hood almost, and keeping it for themselves and spreading it around the Thieves Guild. And at the very end of the quest, almost, they give you this thing called the Skeleton Key, and it lets you unlock any door or any chest that has a lock on it, so you don't have to use your lock picks. And so I usually just go through the Thieves Guild quest so that I can get the Skeleton Key and not give it back, so I can keep it for the whole game. That's my favorite thing to do. There's the Dark Brotherhood. They're the Assassin's Guild. You can either join them or turn against them. Civil war between the Stormcloaks and the Imperials. You can choose either side. The Dawn Guard quest is the quest against the vampire menace in Skyrim. The Dragonborn quest, different from the main quest. There's another Dragonborn dude out there who has used his powers for evil, and he's kind of taken this island hostage. And so the DLC is you go over to this island and you find out how to kill him and how to defeat him, and you do. And then there's the main quest, which kind of outlines how you defeat the Alduin, the bad dragon who's resurrecting all the old dragons and bringing them back and terrorizing Skyrim. And so you learn special shouts or the dragon language of how to defeat him. And so That's a big part of it. The spells are awesome. There's a lot of spells there. I typically keep to destruction spells, which are used against enemies like fire or lightning or frost, or you can shoot like ice spikes at people. You can raise old bad guys that you've just killed from the dead, and they can fight for you. I mean, there's a lot of spells that you can. I don't think I've even read all of them. I'm just using and giving you the ones that are most common. And your magic ability goes up as you use these spells. You're able to continue to go up in levels